It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview Jackson Coutts, who played for Rhode Island baseball and now is a Washington Nationals player. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to doing this. I saw the one you do with my dad, and I really liked it, so I'm excited for this.
Thank you. Can you talk about how you got started playing baseball?
Yeah. So for as long as I can remember, I've always been around the game of baseball with my dad, my mom, and just my entire family, basically. So I feel like there wasn't really a point of time where I wasn't playing baseball. So, I mean, I ended up loving it, and I still love it. So, I mean, it just started as a little kid and just kept going with it. So we'll keep going with it and see what happens.
How did you know that you wanted to play baseball in the MLB?
I remember watching baseball. Like I said before, just as long as I can remember watching it, I always thought it was fascinating how all these people would want to go watch baseball. I mean, because usually baseball at the younger level is like only like parents, maybe a couple friends, but like thousands of people wanted to go watch it. And I thought that playing on a big stage like that would be really cool someday. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to getting to that position. So we'll just got to keep grinding and see how long it takes.
Can you talk about playing for Rhode Island?
Yeah. So out of high school, they were the only Division I school that offered me a scholarship. And it ended up working out pretty well. I love my time there. I mean, kind of stinks how it all came to a close this past year with the pandemic and such. So, I mean, I'm really thankful for everyone there, Coach Dorado, everyone else. I mean, they really helped me develop into the player that I am today.
What have you accomplished at Rhode Island?
My freshman year, I made the all-rookie team, and I was the second team DH my freshman year. I had an off season my sophomore year. I mean, wasn't very good, but I learned a lot from that. We ended up making the tournament. We had a good run there, and then we were on fire this past spring. I mean, they predicted to win our conference. We beat Central Michigan. We beat Arizona. We beat a bunch of good teams from Maryland. So I was looking forward to see what we're going to do during conference play, but unfortunately, I got cut short. So it is what it is. But I mean, we were going to be good this past year.
How did it feel to play against your dad? I know he's with the softball program, but like playing against rivalry schools.
He was pretty supportive. He really wanted me to go to a place that was a good fit. I mean, I didn't really want to go to Maine because both my parents at the time worked in Maine's athletic department, and I didn't want them to be have some shadow over me so they could follow me around, do it, watch whatever I do under a microscope. So I just found a place that was a good fit, and he was very, very supportive with the decision. So, I mean, it ended up working out pretty well.
Can you talk about getting drafted to the Washington Nationals?
Yeah. So the way that the whole draft and everything ended up happening this year because of the pandemic, they cut the rounds from 40 to 5. So it was a pretty drastic cut. I feel like a lot of guys that had good talent really missed out with having the opportunity this year to go play professionally. But unfortunately, I didn't get drafted in the 5 rounds, but I did sign an undrafted free agent deal with them. So they were pretty supportive. They were pretty interested too. They said if it was like a normal year, I'd be like their 6th or 7th round pick. I mean, that's what they say. So we'll take it. I mean, and then without having minor league ball this year, it's kind of weird because this is probably the longest stretch of my life that I haven't played. any sort of baseball. I mean, I haven't played since March, which is kind of crazy to think about and how everything's going right now. But I'm just kind of taking it day by day, doing the best I can, working out, lifting, doing all the good stuff. But it's really nice to be in an organization that really cares. They've been talking to me basically every week, just checking in with like the COVID thing and different lifting programs and what to work on with your swing and defensively as well. So they've been doing a good job keeping in contact, and I really appreciate and enjoy that.
Can you talk about, I know in the draft that the first few rounds get drafted to the majors and then the rest fall to the minors.
Yeah.
Where are you at in that situation?
So how it works, especially with this year, was a little different. So they had something called the alternate training site. So you had like the 40 man roster or however big it was. And then you had basically another 40, 45, 50 guys at the alternate training site. And it was kind of up to the discretion of what the teams wanted to do with you. So I know with the Nationals, their top 3 pitching prospects that got drafted this year, they went there to play with like the AAA guys or the guys that bounce back and forth between the major league club and the minor league club. They basically started everyone who gets drafted into something called rookie ball, and then they go up from there. But they didn't have it this year, so it's kind of like a crapshoot, for lack of a better term. But you just kind of got to wait and see. And then once the season comes around, you'll be able to determine like what happens with everything.
Can you talk about playing for the North Adams team?
Yeah, the SteepleCats. Yeah. So when I went to Rhode Island my freshman year, that fall, they were working on placing people for summer ball because living in the Northeast, you don't have a whole lot of good weather come baseball season in the spring or whenever it starts in February. Obviously, up in Maine, it's snowing and it's not great. But the SteepleCats, they were great. I mean, I was excited to go. It was a far further drive to North Adams than it was to Rhode Island from where I lived in Maine at the time. So driving was no big deal there. You get there, you're smack in the middle of nowhere. You didn't get any cell service when you drove into town. You come in through like the Berkshire Mountains. It's a really pretty town though. Like everything's close. Everything's really within walking distance. The people there are nice, they're genuine. I was lucky enough to get placed with an awesome host family, the Bolners. They were great. They were basically everything you wanted in a host family, making you feel like part of their family. I mean, it was unbelievable. Anything, like they'd ask you what you want for dinner, they basically cared to you. And it was like kind of, I don't want to say weird, but like they got to be really trusting to like let 18, 19, 20-year-olds live in their house for a summer. I can't thank them enough for everything they did for me. They made essentially the first real summer away from home like the best it could be. And then the people who went to the games, they're so supportive of everything. I mean, I still think that was one of my favorite summers. I mean, a great group of guys, basically from all levels, college baseball, like D3, D2, D1, like everything. I mean, I'm still in touch with all those guys today. So it kind of just speaks on like the kind of relationships you make through summer baseball.
That's wonderful. Can you talk about your time at the Fairmount?
Oh, the Falmouth Commodores, yeah. So I know my dad, way back in the day, not really way back in the day, like late 90s, he was coaching with the head coach of the Falmouth Commodores. So he knew they're good buddies. I mean, they have a good relationship still to this day. They still talk. And so I kind of collaborated with my dad and my coaches at Rhode Island to see like if I could get up to the Cape, because it was a really big deal to go play in the Cape League. It's the best summer ball league in the country. And then, actually, following my year with North Adams, we didn't make the playoffs, so I got called up to the Cape, I guess you could say, to the Wareham Gateman. So I got my foot in the door at the Cape, so that made it a little bit easier to get in for the next summer. So I got a temporary contract for the Commodores, which basically means there's like a certain deadline that they either have to cut you or keep you. So every day there, you're always kind of trying to prove that you deserve to be there. So you work your butt off every day. You go play as hard as you can. And thankfully, I was able to stick around for the entire season there. I didn't get cut. Was able to play basically all through the playoffs with them. We didn't win the championship, unfortunately, but I mean, I still also talk to those guys basically on a daily basis. So it's really the relationships you make with summer baseball are probably the best ones you'll make for pretty much your entire life, I believe.
Can you talk about playing in the Cape League with your dad?
Yeah. So I know my dad played for the Whitey Red Sox. I don't even know what year that was, but he said it was easily the best summer playing wise of his life. He loved everything about it. It's baseball through the entire summer, like early June to basically end of August. I mean, it's incredible, and I believe that too. I mean, you're playing with the best competition throughout like the country. Um, all these guys, all the pitchers, they throw pretty hard. They throw very hard. They can locate well. Guys playing the field, same thing. They're the best players. So you can really gauge yourself as a player when you're playing in the Cape, just to see what that next level of competition is like for if kids like me, basically everybody has had that dream to go make it to the big leagues. So it's a really good starting place to get your skill level and how you possibly will develop as you progress through baseball.
Can you talk about playing in the majors with the Washington Nationals?
So I didn't play the majors this year. So like I said earlier, there's a few people who got to play the alternate training site, but the way that works and the minors work essentially is you go however long the team thinks you need to develop essentially. So because there's no minor league ball this year, so I didn't really have a chance to develop and get all that playing time that everyone else got this year and people at the alternate training site. So I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm really looking forward to the journey that it'll take me to get to the big leagues, because that's the dream of mine. As a lot of guys, but we're all working hard. We're doing our best right now that we can to make that dream come true.
How have you prepared for the majors?
So it's kind of it's a long process essentially. I remember coming out of high school, like you kind of have to take your jumps and levels of your playing level that you go through. It jumps from like small high school in Maine to Division I. That's a big jump. To the Cape League, which is a bigger jump than D1. So it's kind of like a big learning curve. I know I had to adapt going into my freshman year of college. I did well that fall, that spring. Then I did really well that summer at North Adams. And then I don't want to say I stopped working hard, but I just kept doing what was working, and I didn't think to like try to keep learning and keep improving on everything. So I kind of fell flat a little bit my sophomore year at Rhode Island. Like I said, didn't hit very well to my standards or anyone's standards really. And then I really worked. I learned from it a lot, and then I went to the Cape where I was open to all kinds of learning, which I should have been from this. Start over on the Cape. For my coaches there, they're great. I took everything I learned up to that point and I just turned it up by like 20. And like I worked harder strength training. I really watched what I ate, and everything I did on the baseball field I did to the best of my ability, like every single time. And then the baseball season came around this past spring, and I could really start to see it really come together. And I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a great year. I can feel it. This is gonna be fun. We're gonna win a lot. I mean, it's gonna be the best." And then, boom, the pandemic hit, and it all stopped. And I was like, Oh, I couldn't. I was devastated. I think for like a month, I really didn't know what to do with myself, aside from like just playing baseball because it's what I knew how to do. That's what helped me get through like the quarantine and everything. I was just able to get outside, do my work on the field, hit and all that stuff, and I just keep using that to pass the time and make sure everything's going the way it's going now. I mean, it's been a waiting game, and to be honest, I hate waiting for things. So it's still tough, but I've been able to cope with it and adjust basically. But all that hard work's still going right now with lifting, eating, and doing baseball related activities. So it's the best I can do right now. So we'll keep doing it until my time comes.
What advice would you give upcoming college baseball players looking to get drafted into the MLB?
So it's a lot of work. It's probably more work than you think it is, because for me, essentially, it really opened my eyes to how much work it actually is and how much you have to commit to it and all that good stuff. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that you have to do, because I mean, I know for me, and for a lot of guys too, I feel like team practices they're hard because you don't get the attention that say you want or need. So you have to be willing to take what you learn in practice or the limited time you have with your coach one-on-one to really, really work hard on your own time. Because that's when guys get really good, is when they go and work out on their own time and they do everything they need to do on their own time. So you're actually sacrificing a lot of your time just to potentially make a dream come true. And fortunately enough, that the dream of playing professional baseball has started for me, and it's not over. I mean, it kind of really hasn't started yet because I haven't played, but I'm in an organization and I'm really thankful for that. So it's just going to make me work even harder. So it's a lot of hard work and doing the right thing, being able to adjust, and it's complicated, but you have to be able to adjust when things go wrong. You have to be open ears to basically everything, because there's no such thing as too much information, especially when it comes to learning about like yourself as a player and what your strengths are and playing to your strengths and not trying to do too much. It's a lot, but I mean, basically you just gotta work hard. You gotta want it, because if you don't really want it at like 150%, then it's probably not going to work out. But if it basically takes up your life and it's something that you really enjoy doing on a daily basis, like, it's going to be hard to stop you.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
Yes. My Instagram is jcoutts37. My Twitter is jcoutts17. So yeah, if they find me, give me a follow, I'll give them a follow back. It'll be good. I'm usually pretty good with it, especially if I know the people. But if the people are coming from the podcast, then I'll definitely give them a follow back.
Thank you again, Jason, for your interview, and best of luck in the future with the Washington Nationals, along with your baseball career.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you, Jason, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.